This week, the happiness factor came out, and that's a survey they do every year across the world. Finland came in number one for like the 8th year in a row. The United States fell to maybe number 20, in that we have some unhappy people. In the group from 30 to 20 were some of the most unhappy people in the world. And I think one of the things is that we need more humor. We need more relationships. We need more friends. And one of the greatest relationships in my life was my mother. And I want to tell you some stories about my mom and how funny she was. This is one of them. Next month is my mother's birthday, and she would have been 92 years old had she still been living. Probably the thing that is most enduring about my mother was the fact she was, without question, the funniest lady that I ever knew. And it wasn't anything that she intended to be, she just was funny. And in every way, in every situation, she had the ability to not just find humor, but even to be humor. And everybody would say that my mother was one of the funniest people that they knew. I think I was about 7 or 8 years old, and our church had this men's fellowship on Saturday, and my dad and I and my brother, we were all three getting ready to go to this men's fellowship that met. And my mother thought I needed a haircut before I went. And of course, I didn't like getting a haircut. My mother cut my hair for my entire life till I left home to go to school. And it was always an adventure, kind of a struggle, and I would like it or not like it. But anyway, it was that time. And she said, no, it'll just take a minute. And she ran and got the clippers. And I sat down and she wrapped a towel around my shoulders and she started clipping on my hair like you do. And all of a sudden, for whatever reason, the attachment on the clippers came off, and it caused the clippers to sort of dig in or gouge into my hair in a way that it sort of scraped my scalp clean in that one place. Now, it didn't hurt me, but it scraped all of the hair off of it in that one place. And she said, oh, Ken, I've made this terrible, terrible mistake. And she said, I don't know what we're going to do. And she thought for a moment, and she said, I tell you what we'll do. We'll just take some off of your shoulder here, and we'll just put it back up on your head. And that made sense to her. Of course, that didn't make sense to me. I started crying. I was 7 or 8 years old, and she said, I tell you what we'll do. And she ran, and she got shoe polish. That's right, she got the shoe polish. And she started just sort of, with some toilet paper, began to kind of dab it a little bit on that spot on my head that had been scalped with the clippers, and then took some of that hair off my shoulder and put it up there. And the shoe polish and the hair kind of gave it maybe the appearance that, unless she got awful close, it looked okay. And to her, that was fine. I mean, that just worked to her. Oh, Ken, we have saved this. You're okay now. Well, I wasn't excited about it, but I did go with it. And this was a time in history that older men would actually pat young boys, like 7 or 8 years old, on the head. And it was before it was a felony or anything like that. In fact, it was just kind of an act of endearment, maybe some kind of affection. That's all it was. And there were these older men there and kids there. And one of them came up to me and he tapped me on the head. And when he did, that clump of hair fell off onto my shoulder. And he stopped, just froze in his tracks. And he didn't know whether to say anything, or he didn't know whether there was something wrong. Maybe I was going through some kind of treatment or what it was. But for whatever reason, he didn't say anything and he moved on. And about 5 minutes later, I discovered that it had fallen off and it was on my shoulder, thinking to myself, what kind of freak am I? So I go home and I tell my mom, this is what happened. And she said, well, did the man say anything? I said, no, he didn't say anything. She said, it's okay then. It's okay then. My mother always had a way of making things funny and okay because she was my mother. Next month will be her birthday. And she died a year ago in December. And of course, there's nobody you miss like your mom. Today, if you liked my story on Storycast, I want you to subscribe. I would like for you to comment in the comment section and even write out one of your stories so that I can read your story. And maybe somewhere out there in the future, I'll share that story with the whole group. But I want you to subscribe and share. Tell me about your mom. Tell me about somebody funny in your life. We don't have enough humor in our lives and in the world. And so that's what I'm trying to do. Subscribe and share and comment in that section down there. And I would just love to hear from you.